Hi everyone, my name's Lily and I'm the book reviewer behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm bringing you my September wrap-up. We are on time this month, so yay! I'm going to be chatting today about the books that I loved in September, my favorites, and a little bit about stats, I guess. So let's just start off with the what I made portion of the video, and I will say, just like August, nothing. I cannot even... It's so exciting, right? I spent all of September recovering basically from August. There were still some visits. I feel like for a good couple weeks, it was just me every day having to do something that I didn't plan or have to entertain or prepare, or like it just ended up being a lot. And it was really fun, but it means that I meant nothing. I did knit one armband of that orange sweater vest that I've been working on, and I still haven't cast off. That's what I want my goal to be in October, like cast that off. And then I would like to do the other one. It's just not gonna happen. So my goal, because I don't like leaving projects for that long on the needles, I'm gonna cast that off in October with the one side, and then I'll just finish it. My goal, I guess, for the rest of the year is to finish that. I had some other sweaters that I wanted to make, and I even got the yarn, and even did a gauge swatch, but I haven't done it yet. So, I made nothing. I want to kind of put in a little bit of kind of favorites that are not books. One of the things that I mentioned, I did TikTok about this, I will leave it down below, but I wanted to mention kind of other things that I really love. Specifically because you'll see a lot of bookish makeup looks or bookish looks that I'm doing. Also, I get dressed for these videos. And so I thought it would kind of be fun to branch out a little bit more. I know we talked about what I made, so we've already branched out a little bit, but now we're going to branch out a little bit more. Last month, on the TikTok, I did share that I've been really loving those sock curls. I haven't done it today. This is just plain straight out of the shower. But if you want to see how those looked, I will link the TikTok below. What I am wearing though, and is my latest obsession all month basically, are these jewelry pieces from Atelier McChang. I will leave the link down below. They are fabulous. I actually bought them because they matched so perfectly the second Death of Locke, which is one of my latest obsessions. And so I found this jewelry here, which are literally hands and a heart. And I was like, this is exactly the vision I was thinking about, and I have to buy it. So I bought those. I bought the Lady Macbeth set, and I bought some daggers because how could I not? So that is definitely something that I've been wearing every day. I've been wearing one of those different three pieces, and I've loved it. I posted a lot about it because I love it so much, but it's, of course, in my favorites. So those are the only things that I want to chat about so far in the next step of getting to know me. Let me go on to the books. So I read a ton of books. Hold on, actually, because this is so heavy. This pile has been accumulating over here. Look at how big this is. I don't even feel like it fits. It doesn't fit because it can't fit even all in here. Let's see. Can it fit in here? I don't feel like it can. Can I go further back? Oh, I can't. This is it. I'm sorry. This is as good as it's gonna get. It's just so heavy. So I want to chat about my favorite books. Let me just start off with stats. I read 38% of these books, not only these books, but other books I read. 38% of those featured characters of color as main characters, and 48% of those featured queer characters as main characters. So actually the stats are a little bit reversed. I'm not mad about it. I'm sad I didn't get to my target. My target is always 50% and 33%, but I got to some. That was a very interesting month, I feel like. So those are the stats. Later on, I'm going to talk a little bit about books that I wanted to honorably mention, but let me just start off with my top 3 faves for September. The first one is All the Way Around the Sun. I love this one. I really, really loved This Place Could Be Beautiful, I think is the name of it, but All the Way Around the Sun was such a beautiful portrayal of grief and family and identity and assimilation. I loved it so much. It made me cry. Like, I had a really busy month. My mind was kind of all over the place. And so All the Way Around the Sun kind of pulled me back into my physical body as I'm bawling tears. In All the Way Around the Sun, it takes place after the main character's brother dies, and so she is trying to get ready for college, and all of these things just feel momentous but also trivial. It feels trivial in the fact that her brother's not there. Her brother was in college. That was like a huge moment for him. He was just basically starting college. So it brings up these points where it feels so trivial in one sense, but then momentous in the fact that college is supposed to be this big thing. Her parents are kind of making her go, but then they're not talking about the loss of her brother. She has to end up staying with an old childhood friend that she hasn't seen in a really long time because her parents have to go away, while she's reacclimating to high school again. Like, it just balances all of these emotional things really well, and there's a little bit of tension with her and her childhood friend about what kind of the distance and who these people are now and the secrets of her family. And so that's kind of what happens, or that's kind of the synopsis for All the Way Around the Sun. And it was just so good. It made me feel, it was this emotional roller coaster throughout the whole thing where basically the title is referencing the fact that it's been a year. So All the Way Around the Sun, it's been a year since her brother has died. And I'm a sucker for sibling relationships in books. And this one was just so good and so sad, but also so good about kind of like the secrets that your family forces you to keep, and about the versions of family members or versions of people that you know at different points in your life, and having to hold them in your head from who they are now. Like, it just was an emotional, very, very moving book, and it was definitely my favorite YA that I read. The next one was predictably Isle in the Silver Sea, Tasha Sori's standalone book. I knew that this was going to be a favorite. Tasha Sori is an auto-buy author of mine, and normally I feel like Tasha puts the emotional angst across multiple books and series, but this one is a standalone and it just hits you hard. In The Isle in the Silver Sea, it is a world where there are stories, and these stories, kind of like archetypes, or these stories as roles, they sort of force you into a specific fate. And so for these, we have our two main characters, and they are in a story, and I don't remember what the story is called. It's basically a witch and a knight, and so they're kind of destined to be each other's ruin. And I think the knight is destined to slay the witch, I'm pretty sure. And so in this world, their kind of world building is reliant on these stories being fulfilled. And all these people are being born into these stories, these archetypes and stuff. And so I guess it's all about trying to figure out if that's kind of all of our life that we have, if we have the ability to go beyond our story. And also, it's this beautiful, I just wrote the review for this last night, and it's this beautiful story, which it has this kind of small individual love story. This individual, should we fall in love? If we fall in love, it will start like putting us on this path to ruin. But then it kind of grows into this meta thing about the world and about how it feels to have this be the world and all these other people who are struggling with that. So this just balances so much. I love it so much. I'm so happy that I got this arc, and it was everything I ever wanted and more. And the last one is very different, and it's You Weren't Meant to Be Human, Andrew Joseph White's adult debut. Andrew Joseph White's adult debut, You Weren't Meant to Be Human. How do I describe this? It is a book that feels post-apocalyptic. It's horror, and it feels like the world has kind of devolved a little bit. It feels dystopian in the fact that people's rights are being stripped away, which feels also very timely and dystopian at the same time. And in this one, there's these creatures, these hive things. I don't know really if they're like aliens, if they're fantastical, but these hive things, and It's a little bit hard to describe because I don't really understand a little bit about them. I don't really understand everything about them, but basically, the main character has been entered into this hive, and basically, you like hear this voice, and you come to the hive, and they kind of implant you a little bit, but then you belong to the hive, and you belong to this community. So the main character is in this community, in this hive community, and then he becomes pregnant. He doesn't want to have the baby, but the hive wants him to have the baby. So that's kind of the main sticking point, obviously, but the main synopsis and plot of this book. And wow, you should read the trigger warnings because they're intense. This book took me for a ride. I have loved Andrew Joseph White's books in the past. I think The Spirit Bears Its Teeth is probably my favorite, and then maybe it's Compound Fracture, and then Hell Followed With Us in terms of my ranking. You Weren't Meant to Be Human, I don't even know where it goes in terms of the ranking because it is so similar but also so different. So if you really like the prose type, if you really like the horror scenarios, I feel like Andrew Joseph White's stuff is always so unique and so well thought out. This one to me also feels so multi-layered in the fact that I think a big theme will be the theme of choice, the theme of agency, and the theme of having to have this child when you don't want it. That is obviously incredibly timely right now. But I think for me, one theme really resonated was this idea of a community that requires your absolute allegiance, a community that says kind of that you owe it, that we brought this to you, or like we're so great and so you have to do everything that we say. And for me, that theme and that conflict, the theme of community and also alienation and isolation, often these communities kind of try to isolate you from other people. They try to become your whole world. So these kind of themes, vaguely cult-ish, those ones I think really resonated with me currently and what I'm kind of thinking about recently. But in general, this was so good. It was also kind of like really intense. If you read the trigger warnings, you might kind of get the vibe of why it would be so intense. But to me, it felt sort of like returning back to when I first read Hell Followed With Us, but with it more an adult setting, more adult situations, and being a little bit older, I guess. And so that's why it made it into my favorites. Now I want to talk about an honorable mention, which I have now recommended actually to a few different people, which is why I wanted to talk about it today. And it is Terms of Service. I really, really like Terms of Service. The only reason it didn't make it into my favorites one was the ending felt a little bit rushed. And considering how much I was enjoying it, and considering also the fantastical feats of world building that I loved, I just wanted a little bit more from the ending. So that's why it's here. But what I want to talk about is the world, and what I want to talk about I actually can't necessarily talk fully about because spoilers, but this was so unique. This was such a breath of fresh air. It is sort of like a speculative fiction thing. Like, it's sci-fi in the sense that there are sort of this megalopolis. Big city. A big city with many layers. And so it's definitely sci-fi in that sense, but there are also these people who have sort of powers, which seems kind of fantastical. So speculative fiction, I would probably say for this one. But I continuously did not know where this book was going. And at multiple different points in the book, I was just blown away by the care of the world building, by the decisions that were made in this. I really, really enjoyed this. I really loved Bluebird, which is by the same author. And this one, as I said, just felt like a breath of fresh air in terms of what we expect. I feel like when you read a lot, you can kind of always, you can kind of fall into this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, right? But this one, Terms of Service, I had no idea what was happening, and every time I was kind of just shocked. So I've already recommended this to multiple people. This copy now belongs to 3 different people. I've basically promised it to a lot of different people. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that one because if I'm sort of recommending a book to real to, you know, like my IRL friends, I feel like I also have to be recommending it to you all as well. So those were my favorites of September. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what some of your favorites are for September, and I will hope to see you in the next video. Have a really great rest of your reading day, week, month, and rest of your 2025 year. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.